we're drawing our graph. This is the graph that's going to show Rapunzel's hair. On your x-axis, you have the amount of months that from when she starts growing her hair out from the very beginning, and on the y-axis, you have the rate of growth. The blue line is the first 3 months in which her hair is growing at a steady rate of 1 inch per month, so she has 3 inches at the end of 3 months. The green line is when she takes the potion and it starts to increase exponentially, and that's the green line. Now the blue, everything under these curves and lines is the amount of hair she has grown. So after 3 months of 1 inch per month of growing, she has 3 inches of hair. As it begins to increase exponentially, she grows more and more hair per month. And at the top we have our equations. The 2 to the x minus 3 is for the green. Alright, the next question is, how many inches will Rapunzel's hair grow in the first 3 months after she begins to take the potion? So we're drawing our graph again. The red line is the first 3 months she's grown her hair, and the purple line is the 3 months after she begins to take the potion. So we need to find the 3 rectangles under the curve of the purple line, and that will give us the area under the line, which is the amount of hair she has grown. In this case, we're going to use the trapezoid instead of rectangles because it is more accurate. The equation uses 1/2 times h, and then b plus times b, the first base plus the second base. In this case, our height is 1, as you can see in the purple marker. So it's 1/2 times 1 times 1 plus 2, and then you just plug in your y coordinates for each of these. Simplify, and then you should get 10.5 as the amount of hair she has grown after 3 months of having the potion. That means that she now has 13.5 inches of hair. Our next question is D, and it is, how long will Rapunzel's hair be in 9 months after she entered the tower? This is including the months without the potion. So, if you subtract the 3 months she has without the potion, you have 6 months. You're going to plug this into your calculator in the summation notation equation problem thingy program. And you're going to plug it in for b equals 3, because that's the beginning of when she starts the potion. And your end is going to be 9, because that's the 9th month. If you plug in 100 parts, that gives you a very accurate amount of hair that she's grown. If you plug that in, you should get 90.9 inches approximately. Then you add the 3 inches she grew when your equation was linear, when she was just growing 1 inch per month, and you will get 93.9. Alright, our next problem is how long will it be until Rapunzel can leave the tower? We know that at 5 feet is when she can leave the tower, which is the same as 60 inches. So for this, you pretty much have to do guess and check. And what we found is that your beginning starts at 3, like it always does, because that's when she starts the potion, and your end is 8.34. And we always use parts of 100 because it's really accurate. So you have to remember that there are 3 inches in which she has, when her hair is growing at a linear rate, when it's just 1 inch per month. So you have to take off those 3 inches, and you're going to solve for 57 inches. When we plugged in, the beginning is 3 and the end is 8.34, we got 56.999, which is about as accurate as it gets. So we now know it's going to take about 8.34 months to have 5 feet of hair grown in total. Our next task is to find the sigma notation equations for the left and right endpoint. The way you do this, they want it in for 8 endpoints for left and right, and they want it between x equals 3 and x equals 5. So the way you do this is you subtract 5 from 3 and divide that by 8, which gets you 0.25. That is going to be your width and also your increase when you're talking about x sub 0, x sub 1, all the way to x sub 8. Your equation for this, as you can see, since it's going up by 0.25, is going to be 0.25k plus 3, because 3 is your starting point, just like in any other equation. Okay, so our next task is going to be finding the left endpoint for the equation given for her hair. You want to remember, we want our two equations up there, which are x sub k equals 0.25k equals 3 and 2 to the x minus 3. For left endpoint, you have n minus 1 up top and k equals 0 at the bottom, and then your equation, which in this case is 2 to the x minus 3 in front. N is the amount of endpoints you have, which in this case is 8. Remember, we divided that earlier. We divided by 8 earlier. So now you have 8 minus 1 equals 7, and then your sigma equation, and then k equals 0. Now you need to plug in your x sub k into the x in your equation, which is going to give you 2 to the 0.25k plus 3 in parentheses, and then minus 3 outside. The 3's are going to cancel out, which leaves you with 7 sigma, and then k equals 0, and then 2 and to the 0.25k, and you have to remember in parentheses 0.25, which is your width, and that is the left endpoint equation. In this case, we're going to do the right endpoint. For the right endpoint, you want to start off with n at the top, k equals 1 at the bottom, and then your equation, just like with left endpoint in front, which is 2 to the x minus 3. Your n is still 8, which is the amount of endpoints you're going to have. So then you have 8 at the top and k equals 1 at the bottom. Now, you need to plug in your x sub k equation, which is 0.25k plus 3. So now it is 8, k equals 1, and then in front you have 2 to the 0.25k plus 3. The 3's cancel out, and you end up with 2 to the 0.25k. Now, you need to remember that you have to multiply all this by your width. Your width in this case is 0.25. So you end up with 8, your sigma sign, k equals 0, 2 to the 0.25k, and then the whole thing is going to be multiplied by 0.25. Alright, so our next question is, how much hair is she going to have at the end of 5 months total? So we know that she starts taking the potion at month 3, and we want to know at month 5. So our end, when we plug it into the calculator, is going to be 5. We're doing parts of 100 because it's very accurate. When you plug this in, you end up getting 4.33, which is the amount of hair she has in those 2 months with the potion. Then you need to add 3, because those are the 3 inches she already had before she took the potion. That gives you 7.33 inches of hair total when she has that month 5 of growing her hair.